Hey, friendo, Steve here. Welcome back to Wrestle Juice. It's time for more of your hot takes. Let's go ahead and dive into them. First up, this was the most upvoted hot take we've got on the docket today. It's from Andrew Whitaker, and Andrew says Triple H really needs to learn how to book a title reign that doesn't last forever. I've got the title reigns right here. Right now, the Kabuki Warriors are at 33 days. And I kind of don't see them losing those titles anytime soon. It feels like Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark are in line for a title shot. Maybe that will come at WrestleMania, in which case I kind of expect the Kabuki Warriors to keep their titles, which might mean Io Sky is going to keep hers too. I'm sort of on the fence about whether or not Io is going to lose hers or not. Logan Paul's had his for 116 days. I think the main focus of attention, because somebody else mentioned this, is of course like Rhea Ripley's at almost a year. Roman Reigns, obviously Triple H inherited that title run, and you want to make sure that gets paid off correctly. And Seth freaking Rollins, I think it's sort of Seth and Rhea are the thing that, and Gunther are the things that people are putting up there as like, okay, listen, something's got to give with one of these main titles here. Because the Intercontinental Championship at this point is a really big deal because of Gunther. All sorts of great debate in the internet wrestling community over who should be the person to take that title off of Gunther. Should it be Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, Dominic Mysterio even? Seth has had that title for 277 days. I personally think he's probably going to end up losing it at WrestleMania, which is like 35 days away. So that'll put him right at about 300 days, which is about 2 months short of a year, which I think, look, the thing about Seth's World Heavyweight Championship and the thing about Triple H, I think in general, is you have to establish some sort of bar. We have had a small amount of short title reigns. Of course, we had Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso winning those tag titles from the Judgment Day and then dropped them back to the Judgment Day 10 days later. That kind of served a story there. But I understand what he's trying to do in each of these situations. He's trying to establish Rhea Ripley. He's trying to establish both Gunther and that Intercontinental Championship. I know Seth Rollins says, hey, I'm going to be the fighting champion. I'm not going to be the guy who only defends it every once in a while. And that's been true of him. It's just he's booked really strong, so he's had this really long title reign. I do wonder, though, after WrestleMania, assuming Roman loses, I don't know how long Cody's reign is going to be. I don't know if I see that first reign being more than, it'll probably be between a year and a half. I would think probably sounds about right. I think a good title reign is like 9 months. I think 8 or 9 months is like that's like a good chunk of time right there to establish a title reign, but it's also what you do with it. So I don't know. I kind of agree. And a lot of you seemingly agree with this take. I kind of agree that it's not that he needs to learn how to do it. It's that we haven't seen, because he's setting a bunch of stuff up. So we haven't really seen like a good sample size of what that would look like. I kind of expect Logan Paul maybe, well, if he faces Randy at WrestleMania, I think Logan Paul's going to end up winning that one. I don't think Randy's going to win that one. So yeah, I don't know how, give him time. Give him time is what I have to say, I think. Anyways, Biz Kaz Fry says Grayson Waller is the closest thing WWE has to an MJF style heel. All he needs is a feud to show. I feel like Logan Paul is kind of the closest thing they have to an MJF style heel. I don't know how long Logan Paul is going to be around. Probably not that much, given that he's got so many other businesses on the side. WWE is kind of his side business, to be honest with you. But yeah, I think, does Grayson Waller have the potential to be an MJF type guy? In my mind, my thoughts sort of remains to be seen. I don't know if I see him as much more than just like a really, really, really good sort of upper level comedy heel type guy. Not comedy heel, but sort of chicken shit, clownish heel. Which I think is not what MJF is. So I don't know. I think he might. I think he's got all the potential in the world. I like Grayson Waller a lot. Like, he has grown on me in a major way, and I think he's really good. And if he ever reaches that level of MJF style heel where he can really be taken seriously, then I think that's really cool. I hope he can do it, and I think there's a possibility, I guess, that can happen. Zoe Taylor says Seth Rollins and the guys on Raw have 100% made the current World Heavyweight Championship feel like a legitimate world title. It's secondary to Roman's, but that's always been the case when there are 2 world championships. And here's the thing. I agree with this. And on top of that, I think over the past 2 months or so, they've done a killer job with Seth and the title, with the Drew McIntyre stuff, with the CM Punk stuff, even with the Cody Rhodes stuff. I think once Roman loses that title, because let's face it, Roman is on, for the modern age, a historic run. And historic run. I always forget which one it's supposed to be, a historic or an historic. I think technically you could do either one. Roman's on a run that is historic at this point. So that's kind of an unfair sort of comparison. They have done a killer job in my opinion, making that World Heavyweight title feel separate, unique, and its own beast for Monday Night Raw. I like it. It's the marathon show. It's a 3-hour show, and you have the workhorse world champion there, and you've got the Intercontinental champion there, who's also a workhorse in his own right. I agree with this. I think they've done a hell of a job with it, especially over the last couple of months. Once Roman loses that title, I think you're looking at 2 titles that are basically on par with each other. I don't know at that point if you can really truly point to an A title. Although you could say the guy who has that A title is the guy that beat the B title three times. So I guess when you take a look at the actual people who are holding the titles, maybe you're onto something there. But yeah, I think they've done a really good job with it as well. R.I.P. D says WWE absolutely needs to get actual graphic designers to design shirts. I feel like there's so much more potential for beautiful designs, maybe even commission freelance artists to make some. Just some from some of the art I've seen on Twitter is way better than WWE Shop has. Yeah, I think they've got like in-house graphic designers and artists. And I think they probably are just supposed to churn out design after design after design after design. And that's probably why you get the designs that you do. I think it would be awesome if they commissioned more artists to make more unique pieces here and there, though. I agree with that. Wouldn't be me, though. I'm not that good. Patrick Cheeseman says Orange Cassidy deserves a world title run, if only like a Kane 24-hour one. He may be a comedy act, but his in-ring ability and connection with the crowd warrants at least one run. I kind of agree with this, but I think I don't know, the window's closed on it. But I thought there was a good opportunity back when him, Pac, and Kenny Omega had that triple threat at some pay-per-view for the world title, and he lost. I thought that place would have exploded. Exploded, I tell you, if Orange Cassidy would have won it. I thought it would have been awesome, and I thought they should have done that. And then had him lose it like the next night or something. Razvan says AEW needs at least one pay-per-view to feel special by some kind of match stipulation like Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank, even Elimination Chamber. At this moment, all the pay-per-views seem like just another pay-per-view or just another pay-per-view, but in Wembley. I don't think All In feels like another pay-per-view. I think having that big stadium show, I think that does separate it. It seems like they might be making that their WrestleMania, and All Out is sort of their, Chicago homecoming show. So I don't know about that necessarily. I mean, some of the pay-per-views from time to time, like Revolution feels pretty special. If they can try to manufacture some big hook, some big angle like Sting's retirement, which granted you can't do every time, but I do kind of feel like they should stick to Revolution, Full Gear, and then All Out and All In. And then what's the other one? And then Double or Nothing. Like, those do need to remain like their big 5 pay-per-views. And if they want to, toss in the Forbidden Door, although there's another take on here that I totally agree with about Forbidden Door, which I'll get to in a second. Let me see here. King Pertov says the women have outperformed the men in big matches for the past 4 months. Better War Games, better Rumble, and now better Chamber. Wouldn't surprise me if both world title matches at Mania. Both world title matches at Mania have the potential to be really, really good. Becky Lynch versus Rhea should be an outstanding match. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte last year was one of my favorite matches of the year. Io Sky versus Bayley. Bayley's like one of my favorite in-ring performers. And Io Sky is as well. I think they're going to have an absolutely killer match. As opposed to the men, I don't know. I feel like the Cody Roman one, it has to be an overbooked mess, but it'll be a really good match. And then Seth versus Drew McIntyre. I think it'll be a really good match, but You might be right when in this situation. The women's world title matches might outperform the men. Remains to be seen, though. Gunther's match might be match of the entire show, depending on who it's with. And everybody, but except for Dominic, if he has a solo with Sammy or a solo with Chad Gable, those are going to be card stealing shows, man, or matches rather. King Showtime says Dynasty is not an AEW pay-per-view, but a stable for returning MJF alongside Hammerstone and Richard Holiday to harken back to their MLW days and go after Adam Cole. So AEW recently trademarked Dynasty, and the speculation right now is that it's another pay-per-view. I kind of feel like it's more likely a pay-per-view or a TV show name or something like that. I don't think that they would trademark a stable name. That's more of a WWE thing. AEW, yeah, they would probably. I don't know if AEW's trademarked any names for characters or stables yet. Like, did they trademark Inner Circle? I don't know that they did. Or what was the Pinnacle? I don't think they trademarked that stuff. Diabetic Man says, regardless of who's challenging Gunther currently, if when Sheamus comes back, he should be the one to beat him. I don't know how I feel about this, because on one hand, I like it in that Sheamus is like the one title he hasn't won. On the other hand, it's the only title he hasn't won. Does he really benefit? Does Gunther really, like, does everything really benefit from Sheamus winning that title, or should it go to somebody who kind of needs to break through to that other level, like a Chad Gable? A lot of people are behind Chad Gable, and I really appreciate the direction they took with him just this past week, away from the Alpha Academy, wearing a suit, and then they did that serious video thing, and he's got other things on his mind than goofiness. I think that's a good direction for Chad Gable if he's going to win the Intercontinental Championship. You know, it's not like he's a young guy. Same with Sami Zayn. He's got a really great story. Does it do, like, the thing that it does, the person it does the most for would be Chad Gable. On the other hand, should it be an Ilya or a Braun Breaker or a Carmelo Hayes? Should it be somebody like that? I feel like they're all really, really, really far off from being the guy. I feel like whoever the guy is needs to be somebody in the orbit of Gunther right now. My guess is it'll probably end up being Chad Gable. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think at WrestleMania, Gunther's going to survive in a multi-man ladder match. I think they're going to bring back the Intercontinental Championship ladder match, and it'll have all those guys in it. And then somehow, some way, Chad Gable, after coming up just this short, is going to end up beating Gunther, you know, for the Intercontinental Championship at, like, I don't know, a pay-per-view or two later. I don't know where it's going to happen. Because you've also have that Bash at Berlin. I don't know if Gunther's going to be there defending his Intercontinental Championship, or if that's going to be like his world title shot. But he's going to have the main event slot at that pay-per-view. I can almost guarantee that. Mr. Kildane says Spears should have come back to NXT as Ty Dillinger. Perfect 10 was over as fuck. No, he was not. No, man, no. Look, people like the Perfect 10. He seems like a cool guy, but I'm much happier with him being Sean Spears, the guy hitting people with chairs, as opposed to the guy with the Ming the Merciless collar and doing this bullshit over and over again. I just did, dude, it's a hand sign. This is not over. People were out there in the crowd of the Royal Rumble saying 10-10. Oh man, it's the guy who calls himself Perfect 10. That's it. There was no, that ceiling was so low for Ty Dillinger. I think he's going to be better off as Sean Spears, Mr. Kildane. We'll agree to disagree on this point. Brennan says Austin's heel turn at Mania X7 was actually a good idea, just poorly executed. His character work during the invasion really showcased what a deranged heel Austin could be, but people didn't want it at the time. I don't necessarily disagree that it was a good idea, poorly executed. I think that there is a much better way to go about. I'll put it this way. I don't think the heel turn was a bad idea. I think the way they did it aligning with Mr. McMahon was, and the invasion stuff, yeah, he was still... Yeah, I don't know. Boy, that really killed the product. Like, people just started tuning out in droves. They really did. They needed to put a lot more time and effort into that heel turn. They really did. That was a big, big deal. That could have been like a Hogan NWO type thing, and they really fucked it. And Adams Business Firm, what a great name, says wacky Dean Ambrose is actually really funny and was an awesome character, even if it wasn't as serious as Mox. His creative only got bad with the heel turn. Ambrose, not always, but a good portion of Ambrose's run was, and I'm not talking about the heel stuff, I'm talking about the wacky Dean Ambrose. It always felt like it was spinning its wheels like Vince. Look, Vince ran with him as the guy, as champion, but he wasn't like the guy. It was like while Brock and Roman were sort of trading the other title. So I don't know. Did I find him? I thought he was all right. I was never like a huge Ambrose guy. I've liked Mox at certain. I think Mox needs a change of some sort, but I don't think he wants to, because we've had like 5 years of him now. So I don't know. Look, I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's going to happen. Don't think it's going to happen. I'd be kind of interested to see what Ambrose would be like in the WWE under Triple H. I don't think he'd do it, though. I think he likes Triple H okay, but I don't think he really likes Triple H. I think he prefers AEW. He just do whatever he wants. Jared Smith says, I like the WWE spinner belt. You know what's crazy? The spinner belt is the title that I've come around to just kind of recently. I don't know. Whenever I see it lined up next to like the Winged Eagle or like, I don't know, the 2002 Undisputed title, man, that spinner belt was really cool. I really like the spinner belt. If I had to get if I plunked down money for a WWE shop replica, it'd be the spinner title. I really like that thing. Mr. Sammy Sandman says, proud and powerful, AEW's biggest ball drop of all time. I think a good case could be made for that. Kind of agree with that one. Yeah, maybe. No, you know what? It's still Wardlow. Until I see otherwise, it's still Wardlow. Boy, he was popular leading up into that Double or Nothing match. He was so popular. And then they gave him a lawsuit angle right afterwards. I think that's a bigger ball drop, to be honest with you. This is my personal favorite one of the night. Lord Blake Whitehouse says, in the long run, WWE getting Lexus King is better than getting Okada. I could see that maybe playing out. Of course, we'll never know because Okada isn't going to WWE, he's going to AEW. But what's Okada's ceiling in WWE? To me, it's like Gunther, right? Like, there's some similarities there. Like, they're both big match machine guys, which could legitimately be built up. Like, Gunther's been, the 600-day reign, and it's all been based off of basically like him putting on these really awesome physical matches. Okada can be a variation on that. And I feel like the ceiling for Gunther is probably be champion. It's probably world heavyweight champion. I don't know if he's going to I don't think he's not like the type to beat Roman, but he could probably beat Seth. Okada probably in the same realm. I don't know about Lexus King, man. I'm trying to see it because I think that he's kind of a soft, controversial figure that I think might have some surprising upside. The thing is, he's like 31 or 32 years old. Or is it how old? I think he's like 31 or 32. I don't know. I don't know if the guy can find it. I don't know what the angle's going to be, but he's got a look to him. Pillman Jr., he's got charisma. Man, I don't know, though. I don't know. I don't know about that one. I think Lexus King has a future, though. I think he does. We'll end on this one because I love talking about championship titles. Brute Van Slyke says the WCW world title is better looking than the big gold belt. Of course, the WCW world title was the one like Ron Simmons won it. I think like Vader had it or something like that. And Brute here says that that's the better title than the big gold belt, which is not true at all in any way, shape, or form. Big gold belt is the belt. Have you guys seen they got the big gold belt on WWE.com, shop.com as a replica title with the brown strap to it? And it's got like no WWE logo on it. It looks amazing. It looks so good. Yeah, no, I don't think big gold belt's like the best title of all time. It really is. Anyways, that's going to do it for Hot Takes. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, all that stuff. Appreciate it. AEW Revolution Sunday, going in Raw stuff. It's the Twitch, youtube.com/Stephen Larson, twitch.tv/Stephen Larson. Hopefully, I'll see you guys there.